Hi everyone, it's Jessica Dybzinski and it is time for a Makers with Heart video collaboration for August of 2023. I'm really excited because this month we are featuring the mix-in papers from Close to My Heart, and those are always my favorite papers from every catalog that we have. Here I have just grabbed a whole bunch of them from various different catalog cycles, and I pulled a pattern piece of paper from the Cosette collection that I want to use as like my main pattern. So my favorite thing about mix-ins is that they really just go along with pretty much anything. They are designed to extend the collection, paper collections, because they are color coordinated. But the great thing about them is that they're just neutral patterns in usually a single color. So you can use them in a lot of different ways. I have this old photo of me from when I was 7 years old, and I've got a bear that my grandparents had given me as a present. I'll tell you a little bit more about the photo later, but I am going to attach it to my page with this 4x6 flip flap just because I want to preserve the back side of that photo, which has my mom's handwriting on it. I did find this sketch on Pinterest. It is by Laura Whitaker, and I am using that as a guide for putting this layout together. I didn't have any measurements, so I did my best to kind of, figure out how to cut all the papers. And I did use my fancy doilies thin cut to do that doily out of some mulberry cardstock. So now that all the papers are cut and ready, I'm going to go ahead and spend a little bit of time just adding some distressing to the edges of them, and then also some texture to them. That's one of my favorite things about doing layouts that have a lot of layering, is just to kind of add some different looks to all of the papers. I think that really kind of makes them pop. So for a bunch of them, I'm just grabbing a coordinating ink pad and swiping it across the edge of the paper. And then for this toffee piece here, I am using an edge distressing tool to rough up the edges. And it occurred to me that, since it is going to be layered, a lot of that's not going to show, and I probably don't need to rough up all 4 edges because then maybe it wouldn't lay as flat on the page. So I'm just kind of carefully thinking about what parts will show and then just running my edge distressing tool across those edges. One thing that I like to do after using my edge distressing tool is I take my fingers and just kind of push against what I have done to really reveal that white core. And then I do like to kind of fold over maybe a little corner or something like that just to really rough it up. Okay, and then this piece here in the sketch, it did show that it had a dovetail. So I'm making a little cut in the center of the paper and then coming from corner to corner. And then I will use my ink pads to get those last 2 papers as well. So once I have all of these done, I can go ahead and start assembling. Now I did get a sewing machine this summer, which I've been really excited about. So I did off camera add a little bit of stitching detail to some of those papers. I thought it would be easier to do them on their own rather than once I have them glued down to my 12x12 page here. So I've got all of those pieces prepped and we can start putting things down. So here I'm just starting with that one paper from the Cosette collection. And again, all of the other ones just come from different mix-in paper collections. So I was just looking for colors that kind of worked for my photo. The photo itself was really kind of bland. It just had like a lot of brown to it. My parents had like a brown couch and brown walls and brown carpet. And so everything was just kind of really very dull looking. And so I just went for this mulberry because I thought that it was a really pretty pop of color. And if you look really closely at the photo, it looks like I maybe have like a light purple or pink nightgown on. So that was kind of my pop of color. And then I used the other mix-in papers just as something neutral. Again, that's my favorite part about using those mix-ins, is they're a way to kind of pull in whatever colors you want in a neutral way. So I'm just layering some things up here using my T-square ruler, hooking it onto the side of my Versamat. And I don't know, when it comes to paper layering, I guess you can't really do it wrong, right? You just kind of start tucking things until they look the way that you want them to. So this particular picture, it was sitting on my desk. My grandma passed away last fall, and as my dad has been cleaning out her house, he has just kind of been finding all of these old things that, like old photos and things, and then passing them along to me. And so it was sitting on my desk, and I didn't really want to lose it or didn't really know what to do with it. And I thought, I'm going to go ahead and scrapbook it. When I look at this photo, I can remember my parents' house. This isn't from my childhood home in Arizona. I remember the furniture and the painting and the lamp, and I think I actually even have that bear somewhere down in my basement. I'm kind of tempted to go look, but also not really, because that would be a bit of a mess. But I just wanted to preserve every part of this picture, and I didn't want to cut it. And I didn't want to put it on a photo mat either, because my mom's handwriting is on the back. And I thought, at some point that would be really cool to see as well. And you can see that it was printed in July of 1987. So I have not really done any kind of heritage scrapbooking before. I know my friend Amanda from Crafting with Amanda, she has done a lot of different heritage layouts. So if that is something that you are into, you definitely want to go check out her YouTube channel. But this is something new for me, and I would be interested to know if you do that, like how do you put your photos down? I did use this 4x6 flip flap just so that way my photo didn't have to be stuck to the page and you could see both sides of it. But I kind of thought about maybe doing some photo corners or something. I don't know. I'd be curious to know what other people do. Okay, as far as my title goes, I wanted it to say childhood memories. So I used my Cricut and then a free cursive font that I found on there. Just typed out the word memories. I cut it 3 times, and then I am going to glue those together just to give it a little bit of extra dimension. And that is cut out of some charcoal cardstock. Try to say that fast 3 times. And so I'll glue all of those together, and then I will stamp the childhood part with one of my stamp sets. So this is the Prairie alphabet. I love this stamp set. It just has some little tiny letters to it and some numbers. And I will again use that T-square ruler to come to the rescue. I'm going to draw myself a little line above where I have glued down memories to make sure that I stamp childhood on straight. And I'll just use a pencil here. As far as erasing my pencil mark, I do like to use my rub and remove eraser. I have found that to be a cleaner erase than using the eraser on the pencil. So if ever you get smudges, that might be something to think about. Okay, so as far as embellishments go, I knew I wanted to use some of my wooden embellishments. And this is an older pack of hearts that I have. I love them, and I just thought, well, there's that toffee up there, and again, there's a lot of brown in the picture. It might be kind of fun to do some of those natural wood-colored hearts. And then I thought, well, I am using that one piece from the Cosette collection. I have a lot of stickers left, so I did fuss a little bit with trying to use a couple of the stickers from the sticker sheet. I don't think that any of them actually ended up making the final cut, but I did try to do that. I really liked this typewriter. I thought it was cute, but then I was like, well, I'm not that old. I mean, I did learn how to type on a typewriter in school, but it wasn't that old-fashioned looking. And so I'm like, I don't know how heritage I need this to be. And then I did try playing with this cute little envelope, but again, it just didn't quite go. And so I just stuck with the hearts and let that be. So you can see I've gone ahead and glued those hearts down and scattered them around the page. And then as far as the last little bit, I am going to put on some gold glitter gems. Now, one other thing that I did do off camera, and I apologize, I didn't film this part because I had to put my head right over where I was stamping so they didn't mess anything up. But I did find a stamp that had some stitch marks on it, and then I stamped around the perimeter of my page with some charcoal ink. So that way I have that faux stitching all the way around. All of that white kind of running off to the edge was really bothering me. And whenever that happens, I do love to do these like stitching lines around the side or like a doodle, or even to mat it in some cardstock. I just think it kind of helps to contain the page. So I did do that part off camera. But I'll go ahead and scatter these gold glitter gems in all 3 areas of my clusters. And that is going to be it for this layout. The paper layers kind of make it look like there's a lot going on, but it really was a very simple layout to do. And I'm glad that now I won't lose this picture, which has just kind of been sitting on my desk in a stack of things, trying to get lost. So there we go. I guess I'm going to be starting a heritage album with some of the things that my dad has been passing along to me. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching. So this is a video collaboration, and yesterday was Lori Kutch, and then tomorrow we don't have anyone going, but on Sunday, Amanda Ross from Crafting with Amanda will be doing her take on the mix-in papers, and then everybody else will kind of be following every day after that. So I will put some links in the description box down below to their videos, as well as any products that I used. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Happy crafting. Bye.